Good afternoon from, well, not so sunny Colombia. It's a little overcast today, and I thought it was a good day to have a little chat and talk budget. I think anytime one becomes an expat, there's a whole gamut of price range at your disposal. And I am on a budget. I live on Social Security, and actually, I don't even spend all of my Social Security, which is really good. But I also bought a condo here eventually, so I didn't have to pay rent. And by the way, the real estate prices here compared to what they are in Florida, where I moved from, are, just unbelievably low. I would say about a quarter of the price for the value that you get. This is my condo. I'm up in the mountains outside of Medellín. I love it. Medellin's a little bit pricier than the small town area where I'm at. It's a wonderful weekend getaway, even though it's only about 35 minutes out of the city. A lot of Colombians come to this area. There's a lot of horse ranches, old towns with beautiful squares and cafes, wonderful desserts and pastries of all things, gorgeous flowers. I don't know if everyone knows, but Colombia exports the majority of the United States florists, supermarkets everywhere. Most of the flowers come from Colombia. And it's just beautiful. You see these flower farms all over the place, just dotting the landscape. And the smells are wonderful. So what I wanted to talk to everyone about today is budget. I'm very budget minded because I am living on Social Security or less. So first and foremost, I know I've mentioned this before, one of the best things you can do before and certainly after you come to Colombia is join any local Facebook groups. Even ones that are in other parts of Colombia can be helpful, but most likely the ones closest to you. There are 3 in my small town area, which is the El Retiro, Rio Negro, La Ceja area. And here it's less expensive than it is in the city. Prices have gone up in Medellin, and I know there's been a lot of talk about that. Is Colombia still a good place to go? Absolutely. Is Colombia still a great place to migrate to? Absolutely. Right now, I would say that everything is about a quarter of the price. The dollar is always very, very strong compared to the Colombian peso. I've never had a problem with exchange rate, anything like that. And I have been back to the US since I moved here, and I was in absolute sticker shock. I couldn't believe it. The amount of inflation that's happened in less than a year since I came to Colombia is just unbelievable. And it's for everything. Absolutely everything. Not just groceries, but rental homes, hotels. I'm going to tell you that the area where my family is, which is Southwest Florida, the hotels, I kid you not, since pre-COVID, because everything skyrocketed during COVID and most things didn't come down like much at all. But I would say that since 2020, the hotel prices are like triple. And then during the high season, during the winter months, they're quadruple. There's one that's for senior expats there. And then in my local area, which by the way, is about 35 minutes outside of Medellin. And this area consists of basically 3 towns. We have Rio Negro, El Retiro, and La Ceja. And the area is just gorgeous, as you can see out my window. It's spectacular. There's flower farms and horse ranches, and the towns themselves are colonial and just so beautiful. They each have farmers markets on the weekends, all sorts of cultural activities, wonderful concerts, and not just Latin American music, but music from all over the world, including classical and jazz and rock. And there's so much to do here. But anyway, I'm getting off track. I'm such a big fan of Colombia, I can't help rambling. Anyway, so back to the Facebook. The most important thing you can do after you get here is start making friends on Facebook and ask for their advice. Where do you shop? What's the best place to go for such and such? I made the mistake, for instance, of joining PriceSmart, which is kind of like a Costco, and but even bigger. It's in Medellín, and I don't even like going there, and especially living alone. I don't need large quantities. A lot of the products are US, they're imported, so they have duty on them and they're expensive. I have just loved shopping in my local area. There's 3 different supermarket chains, which are fine. You will pay more there. There are 2 discount chains, which I like. One is D1. They only specifically get certain things. For instance, they have the most incredible coffee. It's called Matisse coffee, or their packaging is different, of course, because it's in metric, but the Starbucks bags, of ground coffee or coffee beans, I think those are up probably around $12 a bag. Well, a bag of this Matisse coffee, it's bigger. I'd say it's probably 1.5 times the amount of coffee in there. And I get that at D1 for less than $5. And that's like a specialty coffee. Now, if I just go with the straight old, supermarket brand Colombian coffee, that's even less. It's delicious. It's Colombian coffee. So all in all, the D1 has really great bargains on a lot of things, including cleaning supplies. And they do have some groceries, their price on milk, things like that, very, very inexpensive. Another store that I love is, I'm sounding so gringo. Another store I love though, it's called Dollar City. And it is a dollar store that is so much nicer than any Dollar Tree, any dollar store I've ever been in the US. The aisles are wide, everything's laid out beautifully. Just about anything that you need, the selection's incredible. So if you want, kitchen gadgets, utensils, things like that, storage containers, accessories for the bathroom, the kitchen, it just goes on and on and on. Personal products, cleaning supplies, really nicely displayed, really, really inexpensive. As opposed to Home Center, for instance, which is similar to Lowe's or Home Depot. And there, I find the prices are actually kind of high. They're not as high as in the US, but they kind of creep up there. And it's a big store, it's convenient for a lot of people, but I don't get much there unless I can't find it in other places. And then as far as grocery stores, there are 2 big chains. There's Caruja and Éxito. And they both have everything under the sun, very, very similar to what you would find in Florida, say Publix or Kroger. Kind of not thinking of all the supermarkets across the United States, but you know what I mean. And everything is really easy to navigate. The stores are beautiful and clean and well lit, and they have a deli. They have hot food to go, rotisserie chicken, just all the things that I'm used to in the United States. And just to give you an idea, rotisserie chicken, which comes with roasted potatoes too, the bag weighs a ton. That and the chicken's much bigger. I mean, huge amounts of meat in that bag with the roasted potatoes, and that's less than $5. So it's, again, it's a supermarket chain, so you're going to pay more. But I try to do what I consider the right thing, and that's to support local businesses. And interestingly enough, smaller groceries, independently owned groceries, are less expensive than the supermarkets. So just going in, if I need some mayonnaise or a bag of rice or something like that, it's going to be less expensive at a small mom and pop, which is different in the United States. If you go to a small store, it's going to be more expensive than the supermarket chains, but that's not the case here. So I feel really good about that, and I support the local small businesses, which is a good thing. We should all do that. So in the area where I live, there is a actually it's a 5 business kind of, I hate to say strip mall because it's much more attractive than a strip mall, but it's 5 businesses in a row with one parking sort of area in front of it all. And it's owned by a man who's sweet as can be, and he's always in the grocery store, and that has absolutely everything. It's small, but just about anything that you need grocery wise, sundries, that sort of thing are in there. And then the next 2 stores next to that are open air. They're covered, but open air, and that's the produce, which is unbelievable. I did a video short just showing my last weekend what I bought there, what I got for $9, which was unbelievable. It would have cost probably over $35 in the US for what I got, even including 2 pints of blueberries. So anyway, but back to this set of stores owned by the general. It's called La Cantinela. It is in an area of El Retiro called La Fe. Then next to the 2 stores of produce is meat and dairy. And there's a butcher there, obviously. And then there's huge dairy display and, everything you would imagine, from milk to cheeses, that type of thing. And then the next store down is the bakery, which is my weakness. So many delicious things. And then last but not least is the restaurant. And that restaurant is not only incredibly inexpensive, unbelievable, high quality Colombian cuisine. Now, I don't eat fried food, so there are quite a few things on the menu that I don't get, but my favorite, and forgive me because I can't remember what it is in Spanish. I'm getting there with my Spanish, but I can't remember what that's called. It's basically a shish kebab, and the pieces of, I get chicken, the pieces of white meat are humongous. I mean, one shish kebab must weigh half a pound of white meat. It's marinated and cooked outside. In Colombia, there's a lot of cooking outside, so it has that woody fire flavor to it, just delicious. And that, of course, comes with arepas, which are not tortillas. They're kind of a thicker corn flatbread, very typical in this region, which is Antioquia, Colombia, which is the northern Andes Mountains area, including Medellín. So arepas are very, very popular. And anyway, I get food to go or even have it delivered because it's only like $3 US to have it delivered. I get usually 2 of those kebab dinners, and that has enough meat to feed me for like 3 or 4 days. So I do that when I'm too lazy to cook. And again, it's supporting a local business. Very important. Another way I save money makes a lot of sense, and it's true no matter where you live, making things homemade. For instance, I am an ice cream, sherbet, sorbet, gelato lover. And I just was tired of buying just like a single pint of ice cream, most of which it didn't taste as fresh. It just didn't. Most foods in Colombia I love, and I just am not wild about their ice cream. Maybe I'm just picky. But I ended up getting on Amazon, I'm going to talk about Amazon in a minute, I ended up getting an ice cream maker, and with free delivery from the US to my address here. And I make everything. I make the absolute most delicious lime sorbet. I can control the amount of sugar too. Very low in sugar, absolutely delicious, solves my sweet tooth problem at night without a lot of calories. And I have had more fun with this machine. Oh, and it makes 2 quarts. So I got some at Dollar City. I got some great containers that I can store, smaller than a pint, but I can store smaller amounts of the ice cream or sorbet that I make. So homemade will save you a lot of money, and also not everything is going to necessarily appeal to your taste here. I love Colombian food. I love the diversity of ethnic foods that they have here. But for instance, I made baked ziti yesterday and gave some to my neighbor, and they loved it. And so, there's just certain things. Could I find that in an Italian restaurant and everything? Yes. But as we all know, if you make a whole big dish, if you make a pan, a baked ziti, that's going to last a long time. In fact, half of it I froze. So again, just, be conscious of that. And I spend, just to give you an idea, I really spend less than $100 a week. And that includes going out to eat. That includes all my supplies, toilet paper, that sort of thing, and grocery store. I mean, I think there are plenty of weeks when I don't even spend $100. So, and my kitchen's well stocked. I have absolutely everything I need. Okay, so another tip. And this is something I learned here in Colombia because, well, first and foremost, the services that are available for pennies on the dollar as far as having your apartment cleaned is just unbelievable. I mean, for $20, you can have a maid come in and just literally clean top to bottom your whole place. I tend to be generous, and when somebody is at my condo from 7:30 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I just can't give her $20. So I pay mine $30, but oh my gosh, how that had gone up in Florida. I used to pay, I only had a maid maybe once a month, just to, help with deep cleaning and that type of thing. When I left Florida last year, my condo costs $150 for a clean. And that was a maid there half the day, not the full day, but half the day. So again, $20 to $30 for a full day. Anyway, that wasn't my point. Sorry for sidetracking, but my point is that what I learned from this maid, because I asked her what do I need to get, like to clean the bathroom in this. In the US, we all know we're used to glass cleaner, surface granite. I have quartz, but surface cleaner, stovetop cleaner, toilet bowl cleaner, scrubbing bubbles for your tiles. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. Well, not much that they use here at all. And my place is absolutely spotless. When I see the amount of waste and the amount of products that are pushed on us in the United States, the amount of money we spend, it's just crazy. So honest to goodness, all that's needed to keep my place clean is a basic disinfectant cleaner, which can also be used on the floors. It's a million brands. Everyone knows Fabuloso, but there's a million brands here. I go to the D1 and I mean, literally I get a huge, like industrial size bottle for $2. And that can be used on, all the floors. I do have wood floors in this condo, so I dilute that cleaner immensely and make my own version of a Mercury's oil soap. And I just put in a few drops of baby oil. And that's just to make sure I don't dry out the wood. So that's what I clean my floors with. And then what I learned for the bathroom is good old-fashioned, it's not called Comet here, but remember Comet or Ajax? That stuff's great. It'll clean your toilet bowl. It'll clean the floor of the shower. And she even uses it for the walls of the shower. It's diluted down, but she makes the solution with that and then uses a squeegee, and everything is absolutely spotless. I've never watched her clean the mirror. I think it's just a little bit of Dawn and water, which I know professional glass cleaners, that's what they use. And again, I'm saying Dawn, but it's not. It's, a Colombian brand. Oh, and that brings to mind, I'm like literally all over the place. I'm sorry. Hopefully I get better at this. I'm very, very new at this. Another thing to be budget minded about is your travel. Did you become an expat, but like me, have family and certainly friends back in the U.S. that you want to see from time to time? Well, I made sure when I picked where I moved to that the flights were not expensive. And because I knew that I wanted to go back not just one time of year, but 3 or 4 times a year if possible. So that's something to really consider. Some destinations are very, very appealing. For instance, Southeast Asia, which I would have loved to have moved there. But oh my gosh, it's 20 hours, traveling, if not longer, and oftentimes thousands of dollars. So that really didn't fit in my budget. So I made sure to look into travel. I am a travel nut, and there are a couple of other places I've seen so far in Colombia, and I plan on seeing more. And then I also saw that my international airport, which is only 20 minutes from where I live, that's the airport for Medellín, there are nonstop flights to so many places in South America, even to Madrid, Spain, and of course, US and Central America as well. So, what I might do, I've been saving. Remember, I told you I don't spend all of my Social Security. So, I may take a little trip now and then, and perhaps my first might be to Peru, or might go to Argentina. I mean, just so many places I want to see here in South America, and also Central America, going back to Costa Rica, for instance, Mexico. There's direct flights from here to there, and inexpensive, considering what air travel in other parts of the world can cost. Very inexpensive. And lastly, you wouldn't think that hiring professional help and services is budget minded. You would think when it comes to getting your visa or your cedula, which is your government ID, establishing residency, all these different things, perhaps buying a car, registering a car, getting your health insurance, all those types of things. It's best, in my opinion, to use a professional. And there are professionals here in Colombia. I have one I found through Facebook in my local area, and I'll give her a plug. Her name is Juli, but that's spelled like Julie, Juli Franco. And feel free to direct message me, or even in the comments, and ask for her contact information. She has been a godsend for me. And mistakes people make. People make mistakes in applying for their visa. Costly mistakes, huge delays, those types of things. What about doing your taxes? You need to know who's the best accountant, who's not going to rip me off. Another good thing to keep in mind when on a budget is your transportation. And actually, before you decide on where you're going to live in your new country, if you're not going to be getting a car, then are you close to public transportation? How far is shopping for you? Can you get there easily, either walking or on public transport? Those types of things. I happen to live remote. With a third of the money I sold my car for in the US, I bought a 1-year-old Kia here in Colombia with only 5,000 miles on it for, just to give you an idea, 1-year-old car, actually 4,500 miles on it, was $16,000. And it runs like perfectly. There's absolutely nothing obviously wrong with it. It's still under warranty. And I need a car here because, as you can see, I'm way up high. I'm at 8,000 feet. So even that local grocer I told you about that I frequent, well, it's not walkable. It's about 12 minutes down the mountain and down the main road to get to there, and then where the bigger shopping is, it's further. And I love having my car. When I go into the city, I don't take my little car into the city. I take it about 3/4 of the way. I park at a major shopping mall, which is only about 10 minutes outside of the city, and I order an Uber, which, by the way, Ubers in Colombia are about 1/4 of the price of what they are in the US, maybe even less, because everything just keeps going up and up and up in the US so much. So that way I don't have to deal with trying to find parking spaces, that type of thing in the city. And I also feel it's safer too. Speaking of safety, one of my next videos will be on crime and what my thoughts are on crime, why I chose Colombia, even though people would say they're worried about crime, and we'll get into that on another day. But in the meantime, wishing everyone a fabulous rest of your day or evening or whatever time it is for you right now. And I hope that you continue to frequent my videos, like, subscribe. I really get such reward from helping people that are thinking of coming here. And I've met through Facebook, I've met a number of people that have just come and visited, and I've really enjoyed meeting them and sharing a meal and going over the ins and outs. And it's just, again, it's been really rewarding for me. So hopefully I can be of help for you as well. And as I get a little better with this technical stuff, I have no idea. Sitting here, I have my phone. I'm just doing this on a cell phone. And I have a phone on my kitchen counter, and I'm sitting here in a bar stool. I have no idea how to photograph out in the world and edit all that and whatnot. But I do plan on doing that and showing you Colombia, so you're just not constantly looking at the inside of my condo, or as we call it here, apartment. Anyway, have a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks again for watching, and see you soon. Hey, I signed up and realized I forgot to tell you about Amazon. Okay, so I kept my Amazon Prime account because just about everything that is in the US is shippable to Colombia, and most things offer free shipping as long as you spend the minimum of $35, and you do want to keep your purchase total in a single order under $200. That way there's no tax of any kind. So no sales tax, no duty, nada. Now the shipping time is longer. It's about a week to week and a half, as opposed to, the 1 or 2 days, but no big deal. So just about anything that you're used to getting, you can still get, other than food and vitamins, anything that you ingest. So I hope this helps, and that's another way to keep you in budget, because Amazon does have a lot of great deals. And there are certainly things that are nice to have that you're used to having back in the US, and you can still get them.